As rock's golden days in the late 60s recede ever further, the Doors increasingly stand out as a solitary and unique sound.
The enigmatic frontman, the Lizard King, stared glazed at the crowd and sang Dog Men and Their Mean Women Pulling Poor Blankets Over Our Sailors, or Royal Babies, Rubies Must Now Replace Aborted Strangers in the Mud. The man with the unenviable task of putting a melody to it all was Mr. Ray Manzarek. Good morning, Ray.
Good morning, Ray.
Good morning,
Thanks
David.
for coming.
Good morning, Kim. Good to be here.
Ray, if you don't mind me saying, you are a 68-year-old man. My goodness, you look amazing.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
How come?
Well, first of all, I've got a great wife. We've been married for 40 years. It's the 40th anniversary of the Doors' first release, and it's a Ray Manzarek, Dorothy Fujikawa show. 40 years later, we got married on December 21st, 1967. So at the winter solstice, it'll be our 40th anniversary. So find a significant other that you really like, I think is the main thing. And then watch what you eat. Eat what's in season, you know.
Yeah.
Work out.
Yeah.
Go for a swim. My God, you guys have got all the water in the world here, you know. Go for a swim, and you know, that's all there is to it.
But what about the excesses of rock and roll? What about the sex, the drugs, the alcohol?
Oh, yes. Well, don't do it too much. You know, as Oscar Wilde said, you know, each thing to excess, all things in moderation. You've got to use your brain. You know, that's why you have this thing in here. You can't do too much, but you can experiment, you know. I mean, how many times did I get drunk with Jim Morrison? Jim just kept on drinking. Yeah. You know, it's like, Jim, don't you even have a hangover, man? Yeah. I was sick as a dog after drinking with a guy, shot in a beer, talking philosophy. We're like beatniks, talking philosophy, drinking, and the next day I was just totally hungover in New York City. The worst hangover I've ever had. And I said, where's Jim? It was time to go to a gig. Somebody said he's in the bar having a drink. I said, how do you do it? It was the middle of the afternoon. It was about 2 o'clock. We had to drive. I said, how can you do it? He said, I feel great.
He didn't get hangovers, or?
Pardon me?
He didn't get hangovers at all.
He didn't get hangovers. I wanted to hit him on the head if I had a little hammer or something. Boink, boink. Wake up, Jim. Wake up.
This is what it feels like.
Yes, right.
Ray, we've all seen the footage of the Doors performing, and we've seen Jim as a performer. And he, as I mentioned there, he was often quite out of it on stage. How would that affect... Did you get concerned about that, being on stage with him at all? No.
He was out of it. He was intoxicated with the moment. He didn't perform we certainly didn't perform on LSD. As far as being drunk on stage, only 2 or 3 times at the most in all the performances. He was like a shaman who became intoxicated with the music, intoxicated with the moment, intoxicated with the rhythm and the music of the Doors, and that's what did it to him.
Did you ever... I only asked this because you mentioned it then, you didn't play on stage whilst, you know, on the LSD.
No.
Had you experienced to the extent where you realised that you just couldn't do that?
Well, it's not something that you take and then go play a gig. It's something that you take and go to the ocean and experience the water, the sun, your mother, the water, the sun, your father, and the sky, you on planet Earth. That's what it's about. Yeah. Where am I? I am on a globe, and that globe is spinning around the universe, you know, around our sun. You have to... Those are the things you realize on LSD. You bring that then and put that into your music.
Yeah, it was very rare to see in a rock and roll band no bass player.
Yes.
You were responsible for the bass part.
Yes.
How did that change your approach to playing? Did it change your approach?
Not really. The left hand... keyboard players can do this.
Anyway.
It's not difficult. It's like playing boogie woogie. The first thing I really got into was boogie woogie piano. And then the right hand does that little sexy little filigree. And you're doing that while the left hand's just going over and over and over. So it was just a very short leap to playing the bass lines for the Doors, you know.
It's very important that bass line in a band, that bass line really nails it with the drummer.
Yeah.
So did you have to alter that in order to...
No. This guy, Lefty, is in charge of... He's in charge of working with John Densmore. He goes out and goes, hey, John, come on, let's go. Yeah. You know, people say we haven't had a bass player, but we have. I mean, little Johnny here is just, you know, I am the bass player of the Doors.
Look, you were mentioning before that it is the 40th anniversary,
yes.
and I understand this CD that we've got just here is remixed.
Brand new mixes of... This is what this is. We went to the original multi-tracks and took the 4-track, the 8-track, the 16-track, and did brand new mixes.
Why do you do that?
it's the sound, state of the arts, man, because you're putting it all onto digital. We're taking it from analog tape, putting it onto digital, and the state of the art is just so great that this is like being in the studio.
You surprised me. You so surprised me with that. I would have thought that you would have been passionate about the analog state of these recordings.
Well, you know what it is, David? This is a delivery system. You know, this delivers to the listener my music. Now, if we're still in the analog, if we still have black discs, great. You have black. Well, you and I may have some black discs. I've got a nice stereo system at home, and I've got my old black discs. Nobody has black discs anymore. Only real collectors, aficionados have it. This is what everybody's listening to. This is even going to become obsolete soon, and it's all going to be downloaded on the internet. But the delivery system of this sounds superb. It's all new mixes done by me, John Robbie, and Bruce Botnick.
You've almost kind
original
of answered
producer.
The original producer.
You've almost kind of answered my next question, because I was wondering, I mean, all those years, 40 years later, do you enjoy still playing the same music? And do you play it the same way?
I don't. You never play Doors music the same way. That's the point of it. It was an improvisational band. You know, it's a jazz band. I mean, what we did is apply jazz principles to rock and roll. And we improvise. I play Light My Fire. Dun, 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 dun. I play that. Yeah. And it's like Miles Davis plays Milestones. John Coltrane played My Favorite Things every night he played. Rachmaninoff had to finish every concert he played with his prelude in C-sharp minor. Dum, dum, bum, dee, 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 dee. If he didn't play that, the audience would go, hey, 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 where's the hit? Play the hit, man. Yeah. So you play the songs, but you improvise on the songs. So I never get tired of them, and I haven't played them for 40 years every day. And Robbie and I don't just keep playing Light My Fire and over and over. Somebody asked me, they said, aren't you tired of playing Light My Fire? It's like, are you tired of having sex? Are you tired of an orgasm?
No.
You're not, exactly.
But let's not talk about me.
Well, let's. On the other way, Dave and I don't want to talk about it. We want to talk about you.
No, leave me out.
Ray, it was such a powerful songwriting team, Morris and Manzarek. Did you ever wonder about the accidental power of that? The accidental nature of that? I mean, how different would it have been if you hadn't met Jim?
Well, that would have been a whole different world, man. You know, I mean, meeting him on the beach in Venice. We went to the UCLA Film School together. We graduated from UCLA. We were friends at UCLA. He was going off to New York City after graduation. I was going to stay in LA. Fortunately, Dorothy at least had a job, some little picayune job in which she supported the two of us. I'm sitting on the beach having an existential crisis in the middle of July 1965. Sun is setting, and here comes Jim Morrison walking down the beach. So I thought you were going to New York City. He said, no, I decided to stay here. I said, great, man, what have you been up to? And he said, I've been writing songs. And I thought, Now, I knew he was a poet. He knew I was a musician, but he never had written songs before. And he sang to me. I said, sing a song. Let me hear what you got in your head. And he did Moonlight Drive. Then he had Summer's Almost Gone, a little Bach-like thing I could play, very interesting little filigrees behind. And then My Eyes Have Seen You, a Latino, the ding-ding, like Break On Through, a Latin kind of thing. We're in Southern California, after all. And Moonlight Drive was all Ray Charles funky organ. And I thought, this is incredible, man.
But isn't it, what a moment, though.
What a moment in time.
And 40 years later, you're still involved.
Oh, I can see it. You know, I can see him coming down the beach. I'm sitting here, and he's kicking up water, and little diamonds are coming off of his feet because it's the water. You know, diamonds and they disappear, diamonds and they disappear. And the songs were just amazing. And I said, this is going to be, we're going to get a rock and roll band together. We're going to make $1 million. And he said, Ray, that's exactly what I had in mind. I said, well, let's do it, brother.
Ray, look, it's lovely to meet you again, and it's fantastic to see that the passion is just so foremost.
Absolutely.
Thanks for your time.
Thanks for coming in.